All right, now to our other top story. Folks, Kevin Hart, he is out as the host of the Oscars. It was just a couple of days ago that he announced that he was going to fulfill a lifelong dream, and that is host the Oscars. Well, what then happened on Wednesday night, then folks began to look at tweets that he sent out in 2009 and through 2011 with homophobic language. Folks also talked about, a joke that he made in his initial stand-up comedy where he talked about his son and if his son was gay and playing with dolls. And so as a result, that took place on Wednesday. All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. The holidays just around the corner. Now is the time to order holiday cards for family and friends. This year, you can create custom holiday photo cards quickly, easily, and affordably at simplytoimpress.com. That's simplytoimpress.com. It is your holiday photo card headquarters with thousands of unique Christmas cards and other designs to choose from. And look, it's very simple. All you got to do is upload your family photos and get them on Facebook or Instagram, personalize the text, and you're done. It's that simple. Simplytoimpress.com prints your cards professionally on your choice of premium cardstock in just a few days and rushes them straight to your door. The New York Times Wirecutter named Simply to Impress their favorite custom photo card service. Simply to Impress even offers foil cards and hundreds of great holiday designs for your business as well. Place your order today and to save 30% and get free shipping. Just enter the promo code DEAL, that's DEAL, at the checkout. Save big on holiday photo cards today using promo code DEAL at simplytoimpress.com. That's simplytoimpress.com. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered. Kevin Hart is in Australia. I know for a fact that folks on his team reached out to him late Wednesday night to apprise them of what was going on in terms of what was happening on social media. The following morning, Thursday morning, that's when things really began to blow up. The story began to circulate all across the country, and that's when the Motion Picture Academy then reached out to Hart, asking him to apologize again, or if he didn't, to step down. This is how Kevin Hart responded on Instagram.
From the Academy, and that call basically said, Kevin, apologize for your tweets of old, or we're going to have to move on and find another host. Talking about the tweets from 2009, 2010. I chose to pass. I passed on the apology. The reason why I passed is because I've addressed this several times. This is not the first time this has come up. I've addressed it. I've spoken on it. I've said where the rights and wrongs were. I've said who I am now versus who I was then. I've done it. I've done it. I'm not going to continue to go back and tap into the days of old when I moved on and I'm in a completely different space in my life. The same energy that went into finding those old tweets could be the same energy put into finding the response to the questions that have been asked years after years after years. We feed in the internet trolls and we reward them. I'm not going to do it, man. I'm going to be me. I'm going to stay in my ground. Regardless, Academy, I'm thankful and appreciative of the opportunity. If it goes away, no harm, no foul.
Now, first off, that was the second video Kevin Hart released. The first video he released as he was lying in bed, shirt was off, and he released a video. And then that was the second release. Well, that video was not received well. Later, he posted these two tweets on Twitter. Quote, I've made the choice to step down from hosting this year's Oscars. This is because I do not want to be a distraction on a night that should be celebrated by so many amazing, talented artists. I sincerely apologize to the LGBTQ community for my insensitive words from my past. I'm sorry that I hurt people. I'm evolving and want to continue to do so. My goal is to bring people together, not tear us apart. Much love and appreciation to the Academy. I hope we can meet again. Now this thing began to spread like wildfire all across social media. And Kevin and his team were trying to figure out how they would respond to this. Many people, of course, began to criticize him, attack him for those tweets, as well as for the jokes he made in his stand-up about his son, if he caught his son playing with dolls. Also, there was an interview Kevin Hart did in 2015 on The Breakfast Club where he said that he would not take a movie role playing someone who was gay because he was concerned about how folks would then think about that. And he said he couldn't focus on the role because he would be so concerned about what other people are thinking. In several other interviews, he talked about apologizing for what took place, saying, you know what, I was wrong with my insecurities in terms of that led me to do that. Others said, well, that wasn't an apology. They said he was trying to simply explain it away. Well, joining us right now, Dr. Cleo Monago, of course, who joins us right now, behavioral expert, also Lauren Victoria Burke, writer with the National Newspaper Publishers Association, and joining us, Malik Abdul, Republican Communications Consultant. Cleo, I want to start with you. You, of course, lead Black Men's Exchange, a group that speaks, of course, to brothers who are same gender loving. And here's a piece. I sent you a text. I believe it was that same night on Wednesday, and asking you had you heard about this here. And obviously this thing really began to blow up Thursday. Kevin Hart steps down. Earlier today, I saw a story where the president of GLAAD came out and said that they didn't want Kevin to step down, that this could have been used as a teaching moment. There were others who would say that there could be potentially roles of individuals who are nominated playing gay characters, and that it would be wrong for Kevin Hart to be the host. Your initial thoughts on all of this?
Well, for one of the rare moments, I agree with the guy at GLAAD that as opposed to dismissing Kevin and throwing... Actually,
it was a woman. I think
okay.
The new CEO is a woman. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you. I didn't know that. But anyway, my point is that I agree that in this society, particularly in the Black community, which is whose Kevin's comments are reminiscent of, elements of the Black community who have, in my opinion, man issues, concerns about being seen as gay or not seen as a man, and has to do what Kevin believes he has to do, is constantly talk about fags, if you will, and constantly talking about homosexuality. He's obsessed with the issue, apparently, because he's talking about it over and over again, and there's reasons for that. People want to be seen as a man and want to make public notice that I'm not like that, so I can be seen as a man. But anyway, getting back to the issue that you mentioned, I believe that we always, when we dismiss people, we dismiss an opportunity to create a teaching moment. But the teaching moment, I think, when it comes to Black people, needs to be very specific. Like I said before, sometimes what we call so-called homophobia among Black people is really Black masculinity anxiety, because the society has done some damage to Black men, including more recently with the police murders, but we can go back, further back we go, we see torturous behavior toward Black men. So there's often hyper-masculinity, hyper-investment in being seen as a man, as I said before. So when you create those educational moments for Black people in particular, we have to deconstruct why we have these reactions and why there's such an obsession with disassociating from homosexuality, even when it's not the topic.
So here's the question, Cleo, that here was Kevin Hart, sent a tweet out also included in his stand-up act. And you have people who are saying Kevin Hart was wrong. He should not be making gay jokes. So the question is this. When you look at comedians, they make jokes about Black people. Mm-hmm. They make jokes about women. They make jokes about gay people. They make jokes about politicians, political parties. So the question is, can comedians make gay jokes? Or are we now saying comedians, where typically, again, where it was always on the comedy stage, anything goes, that, oh no, you should not say anything about anybody that might be deemed offensive. Your thoughts?
Well, Black men can't. I mean, you might remember Tracy Morgan back in the day.
Well, no, I'm not asking can't. I'm asking you, I know what you're saying when they say they can't, but I'm saying, should we have restraints on comedians on who they can make fun of?
And what I'm saying, if I understand your question, is that you're using the term we and you're universalizing the question of what comedians can do. And I'm saying that Black men are treated special. Is my point. That black men are seen in a society as particularly menacing, particularly macho, particularly hypermasculine, and there's a lot of defensiveness in terms of what Black men do. And when a Black male comedian says something about homosexuality, like Tracy Morgan did, and more recently Kevin Hart, a bigger issue is made about it. Because what's interesting about Kevin Hart is that he's made films. He's a successful film star who made these comments and has made several films since then, but no one brought it to anyone's attention to actually not let him do films. But now this is the Oscars.
In fact, Cleo, Kevin Hart said, wait a minute, I addressed this years ago. I'd already addressed this. I already talked about it. And he echoed exactly what you said. He was sort of like, why is this, coming up now? Other people have been saying the exact same thing. And again, the same thing happened, I believe, with Nate Parker, where Nate said, wait a minute, I've made all these movies. And so you're telling me, he says, why is it all of a sudden coming up now? Obviously, the Oscars is totally different. There's this huge international stage, and all of a sudden, it's a brighter spotlight.
Well, that you mentioned Nate Parker is relevant to this issue with Kevin Hart, because initially, both of them were defensive. Initially, both of them were like, look, I already said something. I've already made amends. And the gay community, which is a white-ran community and takes advantage of its opportunity to attack black men, don't play that. They want you to grovel immediately. And to immediately apologize, no matter how many times you've done it before, this is the Oscars, you got to apologize again. And apparently Kevin didn't understand that, just like Nate didn't back in the day. And he apologized later and talked about that he's hurt people and he's apologized, et cetera. But that was not his initial response. So,
Victoria Burke.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what Cleo says is absolutely right. I mean, African Americans are not given the same level of latitude in these situations as everybody else. So it's a combination of course, the big stage of the Oscars, which is a bigger stage than most, and it's the fact that he's an African American, and it's the fact that it's a constituency that he's criticized that has a great deal of political power. Also the fact, too, that his apologies in the past have not been as fully throated as some that we've seen from other people in other instances. So, yes, he's right. He's correct when he says he did apologize before. But you really have to get out there and understand what the political atmosphere is that you're living in and what the group that is involved in politically is to do this effectively. So even though he's accurate that he has addressed this before, you have to be very emphatic in addressing it when you're dealing with a group that has this level of political power, which they do. So dealing with that reality, it is painful to see it in terms of, yes, we're fans of Kevin Hart, want to see him do well, want to see him do the Oscars. It was a dream of his. But at the same time, until he gets out there in a really, really emphatic way and does it, not necessarily to the exact liking of the people who have been critical of them, because frankly, I think there are people out there who will never let it go, no matter what, in every constituency. Also, I actually think, too, whether it's African Americans, gays, or anybody else, this whole teachable moment thing, I think, is slightly ridiculous. You don't leave it to the person saying the thing to teach you anything. If we did that as African Americans, we would never be doing anything. We don't leave it to the people who criticize us, who've been racist against us, to teach us anything. I don't allow, and nobody allows anyone saying anything critical or racist to define who we are as individuals. It's ridiculous. So I did catch the president of GLAAD this morning. I think she was on MSNBC. And I thought, why do you need Kevin Hart to give you a teachable moment? You either know who you are as a person and you respect who you are as a person, and that's it. You don't need Kevin Hart to define that for you one way or the other, whether he's hosting the Oscars or not. So I thought that whole ask was sort of ridiculous. But the Kevin Hart that we saw on the video and the Kevin Hart that we saw on the tweet are two different Kevin Harts. The one on the video is the real person saying, I'm sick of this, I'm tired of it. And that is the real person who understands that, I've said something apologetic and I don't want to repeat it again and again. The other Kevin Hart in the tweet is the guy that took control and said, okay, I'm tired of this, I'm going to withdraw. He really actually took control of the situation and withdrew before they sort of got rid of him, which is really sort of a power move in a way.
Well, here's what he said. He said, Malik, that their deal was either you apologize or you're not going to be the host. He said, I'm not going to apologize. And then he said, it's up to you. He then, of course, so remember, if you play the video back, he essentially says that they gave him the option. He says, I'm not going to apologize, and then y'all do what y'all going to do. Then, of course, he later draws and then still issues an apology. Remember, in 2012, Brett Ratner was supposed to be the director of the director of the Oscar telecast. He made a gay slur at some industry event. Eddie Murphy was very close to Brett Ratner. Eddie Murphy was supposed to host that year. They forced Brett Ratner out. Eddie Murphy resigned and stepped down and said, I'm not going to be host. He was in a sense standing in solidarity with Brett Ratner. So Malik, I'll ask you your thoughts about all of this, but I'll ask you as well. The question is this. Comedians say all sorts of things. Comedians say things about, again, everybody. If you watch Lisa Lampanelli, she talked about black people, white people, gay people, everybody. The late Don Rickles was known to be Mr. Un-PC.
Joan Rivers, too.
Say it again?
Joan Rivers as well.
Yeah, Joan Rivers.